I wonder if there is any such thing as a lactose intolerant cow. Hi, I'm Steve from 1233D. Today we are going to talk about nozzles. Quite a simple topic really, but we thought it might be beneficial for some of you to know when you should be using what nozzle and for what purpose. Right, nozzles. They come in all shapes and sizes, diameters, metals, finishes, all kinds of weird and wonderful things. I have a small selection here in front of me. I will start off with the bog standard basic of the basic. Old school, typical 0.4 nozzle, brass. In most instances, albeit not this exact nozzle, because most nozzles nowadays are proprietary nozzles, so they will only fit certain machines. But you can still get adapters and whatever else to print with traditional nozzles if you so choose to do that. Typically, all of us who own an FDM filament printer will be quite familiar with a nozzle and a 0.4 tip. That's basically the size of the hole that is in the end of the nozzle. Now, most machines come defaultly fitted from the factory with a 0.4. It's the cleaner. It's okay. I thought there was somebody about to raid the studio. Clothesline them. Yeah, have that. The reason that we typically use a 0.4mm nozzle is because it gives us like a happy medium between print speed, print quality and strength. These are the three main factors when deciding what size nozzle you should be using. That will bring me on to my next one. This one is a 0.8. So the end of this one, again, brass nozzle, 0.8. Effectively, the hole in the end of the nozzle is 0.8mm. So basically, it will make your prints quicker. But it will come with a caveat, and that is going to be sacrificing your print quality because you're going to have larger, more visible layer lines. But that being said, you will no doubtedly have a stronger overall finished print because you are extruding more material in one go instead of building up multiple layers. So that is a plus side for that. When would you use a 0.8 nozzle? Rapid prototyping, if you wanted to bang out a part really, really quickly, 100% use a 0.8 nozzle. If you want something that you're not overly bothered about the actual finished look of the print, a 0.8 nozzle, because that's going to give you, like I said, the strength and the speed to actually produce parts very, very quickly, maintaining structural integrity. And then you can go to the opposite end of the scale where we have a 0.2mm nozzle. Now, a 0.2mm nozzle's got a ridiculously small hole. You could not use this nozzle for extruding anything with any kind of fibre or glitter in it because it would just clog. So you could only really realistically use this for standard materials like PLA, PETG, ABS, ASA in raw form. No glitters, no fibres, wood infill filaments, no anything like that. Anything that's got any fibrous content you would absolutely not be able to use. What would you use this for? 3D printing miniatures, D&D miniatures. This would probably be a very good nozzle for that application because it's going to give you a smaller layer height. In turn, it's going to give you high resolution print quality, but the print strength will be sacrificed. So this would not produce a part that is as strong. Even if you use the same materials, same temperatures and everything else, it would not produce a part that would be on the same strength rating as a 0.8 nozzle. That then brings me into this one here in the middle, this black one. So this is a 0.4. This is basically hardened steel coated. So this is a prime example of a hardened steel nozzle that you would use typically for printing filaments with carbon fibre, glass fibre, wood fibres, glitters, anything abrasive, glow-in-the-dark filaments, because they're notoriously abrasive on your nozzles. You need a hardened nozzle. And I say need loosely, because you can print those materials with a brass nozzle, but the nozzle will wear away really, really quickly. Hence to why we say hardened steel. Hardened steel also, I find, the actual coating that's on the nozzle will stop or alleviate any material actually sticking to the nozzle, ended up in them burnt bits dropping off onto your print. They seem to stay clean for quite a lot longer. I would call it a non-stick property. A bit like Teflon. The downside to that is, once you start scrubbing away at these with a brass wire brush, you can actually start to remove the coating over time. So just be aware of that when you are cleaning them, because we all need a clean nozzle. Nobody likes a dirty nozzle. So there's all different types. I've seen nickel plated over brass, but the nickel is harder than brass. So the nickel coating will basically give it its hardened strength, but over a period of time that will start to wear away, exposing the brass, which then it will just be like a normal nozzle. But like your typical black nozzles, like the Obsidian and whatever else, that is a specially formulated coating, some secret blend that has been patented and God knows what else. I just think of it as Teflon.
Sorry to interrupt, I'm Steve from the future. Just to let you guys know, we do have a website to fulfill all of your 123 3D printing needs. So if you haven't done so already, please do check out the link in the description where you can have a browse across our whole product range. And if you're outside the UK, please don't forget to check out our sister stores. We have these based in the Netherlands, in Ireland, and also in Sweden. Back to the video.
We shall move on to the Revo hotend. So E3D Revo hotend, quick release nozzle, very, very good nozzles. These come pretty much as you see it here. The little silicone boot that is on comes off, exposing just the nozzle. They have colour coded silicone boots. This is a 0.4, different colours represent different diameters for the hole. And if you look at it, you've got the cold side of the tube here, screws into your Revo heatsink, makes it really, really quick and easy to change. The nice thing about these is the silicone actually prevents you from burning your fingers because silicone is an insulator. I would let the nozzle cool down a little bit before you do actually try and remove it, but you can still remove it without burning your fingers while it is warm. You literally insert it into the heatsink, screw it into place, and you just screw it in until it locks into place. That is it, it's done. Really, really good nozzle. These come in different formats as well, so you can get these in the Obsidian for hardened. We even do a ruby tip one for seriously abrasive materials, but they're not cheap because it is tipped with ruby, because ruby is exceptionally hard. I've never tried one. The powers that be probably wouldn't let me have one. They would say, Steve, why do you need that? I don't really know, other than it's got a ruby on the end. So cold side, hot side. The cold side is the part of your heatsink where your extruder fan, your hot end fan, is basically blowing cool air from outside the printer in through the heatsink, which stops heat creep up this tube. Because if you get heat creep up this tube here, when your filament comes in, the filament melts inside here before it gets to the hot side, which is the lower part, which is actually surrounded by a ceramic heater in this case, and causes you clogs and all kinds of things that you really don't want or need. That is hot and cold side. Cold side is typically at the top of the extruder. The hot side is the nozzle end. So basically the point closest to the actual tip of your nozzle will be heated by whatever method your printer uses. On the Revo, it is literally a little ceramic jacket that's got a heater cartridge and a thermistor built into it that sits around this part here. And then, as I say, this part here screws into the heatsink. The heatsink's made out of aluminium with lots of little fins in it, and then your fan basically blows cold air through that heatsink, dispersing the heat from here, keeping this side cooler than this side. So these nozzles that we have here are all typically just round standard nozzles, and that one is, and that one is, and I know that the Revo is. But that being said, Bondtech CHT nozzles, which you can get in all different shapes and sizes, inside the actual bore here, which that bore there will be 0.75 millimeters, same as your filament. So your filament goes in there and it basically convection heat from the actual heater cartridge heats the brass up, which then melts the material inside the nozzle, which allows you to extrude it. The CHT nozzles have a very, very clever piece of engineering put in them. Instead of having just one single hole in the middle, they've actually put 3 holes. I can only describe it as like a cloverleaf pattern. And what this does is it massively increases the surface area that you are heating, which in turn melts your filament a lot quicker and more efficiently. Because as we all know, the more surface area you've got exposed into anything, the better job it will do heating or cooling. And I have seen some new fandangle ones where it's like 3 twirls, so it's like a rifled effect. And that's a very, very new type of nozzle, which I've only just seen LDO announce not very long ago. It makes it a lot more efficient. And then next up we have a Prusa nozzle. Very, very similar to the Revo. I mean, they are made by the same manufacturer. E3D make both of these. They make a lot of different nozzles in different configurations. This one is actually made for the Nextruder series of Prusa machines. A very, very reliable system. It's nice and easy to change. You can see here that we've got like an extended cold side on the tube. We've got a little bit of a copper heat break here, and then we've got the actual nozzle. What the copper bit does is actually performs a break between the brass and your cold side. so it should give you that little bit more dispersing area between the hot and the cold side. So basically putting a thermal bridge in between the two. Now this, basically, the threaded part of the nozzle looks very, very similar to the other nozzle that we've got. This part actually screws into the actual heater block on the extruder. If you look at the actual shaft on it, we've got a couple of little indents. Now these indents are perfectly lined up for just 2 fixing screws on the extruder on your Prusa printer. And basically you screw this in, you lift your heater block up into place, you make sure that this nozzle is pushed up as far as it'll go, then you just finger tighten the 2 screws, that's the nozzle done. The Prusa nozzles are available in all diameters and obsidian. There's a high CHT high flow version, and they also do a hardened steel version. So there is quite a lot of options that are available. The reason I like these is because this old school method did cause so many problems for newbies back in the day. If they hadn't got this seated correctly in their extruder or the hot end, or they didn't have their Bowden tube or PTFE tube butted up to it correctly, there was then no seal between the top of here and your actual cold side. And the amount of times I'd seen people's extruders physically explode with filament because the nozzle wasn't fitted correctly, because there was a gap in there and the filament basically was extruded under pressure and had nowhere to go. The easiest place for it to go was out of the top of the nozzle, not the bottom, so it destroyed your hot end. When changing these, you need to superheat the machine up first, make sure you've removed the old filament, keep it hot while you're undoing this, which caused problems. Some machines it wasn't that easy to access it and inadvertently resulted in burnt fingertips. I've done it many, many times. I am talking from experience.
Remove the plate, which is very hot. So everybody has now laughed at me. I have no fingerprints left up on my fingers.
Other manufacturers made angle cranked sockets to be able to remove them while they were hot, so that you didn't physically have to make any contact with it, because they are, you know, 250 plus degrees. And what I tend to recommend to customers is even if at this point in time you're not currently printing with a material that is abrasive or anything like that, spend a few extra quid, buy a hardened one, because that will just allow you to print with everything, and it will last you a lot longer than a standard brass nozzle, because even standard brass nozzles with normal filament do wear and do need replacing, because brass is predominantly quite a soft material. When changing this kind of nozzle, or should I say any nozzle that's screw fitted, it is imperatively important that you do preheat the hot end and remove your filament. Think of it like this: if you've got filament loaded into your machine, you haven't preheated it, you know that filament inside here is pretty much in the same state as it is on the spool. It is now a solid substance that you are not gonna break it apart, basically, because you've got solidified cold filament basically acting like super glue between this and your hot end. So it is critical that you do preheat your machine before trying to remove this. The amount of instances I've seen where people have tried to literally force this out of the hot end and sheared it off to the point that the only bit they've got left is this bit here, because all of the threaded part is still in the machine. So you now have 2 parts, which is not ideal. Worst case scenario, you're going to have to buy a total new hot end because you can't even get this bit out. I mean, you could go to the laborious task of trying to drill it out and God knows what, but honestly, you're going to do more damage than good. Throw it away, learn from your mistake, preheat your machine before undoing your doobly. We haven't had a doobly for ages. Here we have a machine that has a quick release system. So a little old-fashioned, I'll call that buckle catch, I guess. Basically, I can't do it because I haven't preheated the machine and I have got filament in it. But typically, if you unload the filament from the machine, you would then literally snap open this latch, and then the hot end, which is a complete unit on this machine, would come out. Quite simply, quite easily. Refit it is pretty much the reverse. It does have a tube on it, very similar to the Prusa nozzle that I've shown you. So you'd feed the tube up into the hole, you'd make sure that the nozzle was actually seated where it needed to be correctly, and then to secure it back in place, you just put the catch over, snap it into place, nozzle change, done. The flip side to these is if your heater goes or your thermistor goes in that hot end, you do need to replace the whole hot end. You can't just replace the individual components because it's effectively a sealed unit. Whereas these type you don't have that problem. This is totally independent of your hot end. If your thermistor goes or your heater cartridge, you can replace those parts independently if you want to, or you can just buy a complete new heater block and just replace it all in one go. That is Nozzles done. If you've got any questions about anything that I've spoken about on the nozzle front, please do drop it in the comments box below and I will do my best to answer you as quickly as I possibly can. And if you haven't done so already, please don't forget to like, subscribe and share. Nozzles is just one thing that we've spoken about today. The channel is filled with lots of different topics, subjects and everything else, all 3D printing related, all makerspace related. So we do everything from 3D printers to CNC machines, laser engravers, consumables, spares, loads more. So if you want to stay on top of what's hot and what's not, subscribe now. I'm out, I'll see you on the next one.